are welcome. Please, let's remind as many people as we can within our circle about this session. While we're waiting, feel free to put it in the chat box or the chat session. What are the things you're looking forward to into this session? Just type it in so I know our mindsets pre the masterclass, then we will now know if there is a change in mindsets or knowledge gap after the session. So feel free, go to the chat box, just type in what exactly you're looking forward to in the session. Okay, Yoma, thank you. I can see your message. I can see your message. Okay, let's keep it coming. What are we looking forward to into this session? So Yuma says she's looking, he or she, pardon me, looking forward to learning how AI can be deployed to positively impact society. I think that's an interesting one. Okay, Philip. Philip says it's looking, hi everyone, hi Philip, junior level product design, nice. I'm looking forward to understanding the concept of UI, UX more and how to take advantage of AI in UI, UX design. Amazing, amazing. Okay. We hope most of all of this will be addressed in today's session. Okay, Obi says, looking forward to deepening my knowledge of advanced product management technique and framework. Nice. I see you guys have really come prepared. So just get ready to have a very insightful session and also get your questions ready as well. Okay. Any other person? I see a couple of us have joined the meeting room. So please, let's feel free. The question I asked for those of us that are just joining in, what exactly are you looking forward to in today's session? Put it in the chat box rather, and I would read it out and get everybody else as excited as I am about the session. Okay, so we will not waste so much time, but we'll just go ahead and start the session. Our facilitator is in the class. Hi. Okay, can everyone come? Can you just give a thumbs up if you can see my screen? I want to be sure that you can see my screen. Amazing. Thank you. You guys are so responsive. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Okay, so good morning, everybody, once again. My name is Gloria Oti. I am a strategic partnership and business development lead at 10th Code Media Limited. And at 10th Code, we do a lot of things. And one of the things we do is try to educate, try to bridge the knowledge gap within various industry, which is one of the reasons why we have organized this masterclass talking about leveraging AI to build more intuitive products. We have a ready facilitator for us today. So get your notepad, your pen, your forms, wherever you jot all your points, get it ready because this is going to be a session that I promise you is going to be as insightful as you paying into an Ivy League school. Okay, so amazing. So I'm just going to, before our facilitator comes on board, I'm just going to give a brief overview about who we are at 10th Code Media. I guess some of you must have seen our flyers from community groups, online, social media, and the likes. And this topic just caught your attention, but I also want to bring to your attention what we do as a company, right? So a brief overview about 10th Code Media. Yes, about us. We are a company, basically, which seek to, pardon me. Okay, we seek to add value to every entity that we encounter, be it individual, be it organization. We want to add value. And we do that by deploying innovative thinking to transform the company and business processes. So yes, we do interact with companies, but even on an individual level, we also try to provide value in terms of training, conferences, and so many things. So you would see below some of the services that we offer. We offer consulting service to organizations. So if you are if you have a company that wants to leverage technology in the best possible way, we are your go-to people to helping you create that change that you need in your organization. We basically help with digital transformation for organizations and to improve your business processes using technology. And then for trainings as well, on a corporate level and on an individual level, we provide training. So yes, you have improved your business processes. You also want to ensure that your workforce is equipped with the required knowledge to leverage the changes that you've implemented in your organization, which is why we organize trainings in product management, trainings in project management. We also do data analytics, business analysis, and so many things. Interestingly, for companies too, we also do tailored training. So we can come into your organization, do some sort of review and evaluation of your company and know what training your workforce would need. So based on that need of your organization, we can create a tailor-made training for your organization, right? So that is on a corporate level. Then on an individual level, we also create different training sessions. Every quarter, you would have at least 1, 2, 3 trainings coming from us, from product management, product marketing, to project management, to Scrum product owner, to a lot of training, data analysis and all. Basically, take technology, take digital transformation and the skills that come with that. We offer training in that regard for on an even individual level as well. Then lastly, one of our services is we offer we have a blog media. And for our blog media, we have a blog called Innovation Village. So when we have helped organizations make the most of their digital transformation, we equip their workforce, we are also available to help the world, to help you tell the world about your story. So if you have news, product updates, product review, product launch that you want to do, we have a blog service that we can use to help you blow your trumpets about your organization. So you can see that we are a very robust organization, right? So going by what we're doing today and based off the training and conferences services that we offer, I would like to also bring to your attention our trainings coming up, especially in the line of product development and product management. I see most of us who registered for today's class are people who are interested in products, basically. And even if you aren't, you're just curious, I believe that these are skills, this is a training that you would want to leverage. So we have our new product development and management fundamentals coming up on the 14th to the 15th of August. This is a physical class. I know people usually ask very interesting questions. Is it virtual? Is it physical? We offer virtual, we also offer physical. But this particular one is a physical class. And it goes for only 175,000 naira only. And it's at Canton Kakos. The interesting thing about this class is it's a very highly practical class. So it's not just you reading book or going through materials. We give assignments, we give assessments, we even do a mini research. Yes, it's a 2-day training, but you're also going to put your research skills to test. So that's why some of the topics here include things like product strategy, idea generation, market analysis. And the amazing thing is we always use real life scenarios. So if you have your company or you have a product that you want to launch or it's just in your head, you can even bring it to class and we help you flesh it all out. All right. So it's a very, very well-packed class. Again, it goes for 175,000 naira only. In the course of this training, I'll put the registration link for those who are interested in this new product development and management fundamental class. So we can always register and we'll be in touch with you. Another training within the product circle that we do is the professional Scrum product owner. Everybody keeps talking about being a Scrum owner, Scrum owner, Scrum owner. Yes, we know that this is a very in-demand skill, and we have decided to put together a standard. I say standard because it's different from the regular trainings that you would have out there. We're following due process, a standard training for Scrum product owner. It's a certification training, so it's not just a knowledge-based thing. We're actually training you to get the certification for the training. And the amazing thing is, beyond just getting the certification, we would also help you register for the exam. You have the opportunity to write the exam twice. So writing for the exam, coming for the training, all your training materials, it's a physical class as well. Everything, the cost of everything is $600. It covers everything. So you write the exam, you write the assessments, you come for the training, you get all your materials. So you're leaving this training possibly being a certified Scrum product owner, a standard one, right? So this is this training. So if you're interested in this particular field, this is the training that is for you. You can scan the QR code. I'm going to give you a few seconds for you guys to look at the screen, scan the QR code, and go ahead and register. They will be in touch with you. Alternatively, I will put the link in the course of the training as well. So that is that for 10th Code Media. I'm just going to give a brief overview of our facilitator today. Our facilitator is Mr. David Oyemaunu. So Mr. David is an agile and data-driven product designer and product manager with over 10 years experience designing intuitive products that simplify human lives. He is a certified designer, teacher, product manager, and strategist who loves to help others thrive in learning and experiencing design at all levels. So you guys know that you're in good hands. David is a UX consultant currently mentoring at Design Lab New York and ADP List, where he has mentored product design enthusiasts in over 16 countries and is recognized as a top mentor, helping others articulate and optimize their design journeys for careers growth. With an MBA in entrepreneurial management, he loves to work with startups and is constantly seeking to build the bridge between business, design, data, and technology. And guys, I'm going to leave the floor now for our facilitator to take over today. I leave you in good hands. Please, let's feel free to put our questions, our questions basically in the chat box. Let's keep our mic muted so we do not distract everybody else, and let's have a great session. Over to you, Mr. David.
Awesome. So it's really nice to be here. Every time I get an opportunity like this to facilitate to talk about products, I'm usually very quick to recognize the people who gave me these platforms, right? Basically, it's not every day that I get called up to talk about stuff like this, even though, yes, every other day I'm mentoring people globally. So on a day like this, I like to recognize Mr. Francis for always reaching out whenever there is a need. The interesting story about being here is Mr. Francis and I met in one of our product master classes where I was the lead product designer and a strategist for a company I used to work for a few years back. And I think kind of clicked at that point because he was helping us to solidify most of the knowledge we already had. And that meeting particularly gave a lot of practical perspective, practical information to, all the courses and, theoretical information that we already knew, we were practicing, we're probably struggling with practicing. And at that point, it just gave me a lot more, confidence to pursue some of my weaknesses, with a lot more vigor, especially weaknesses in the area of research and then executing all of the things that we already knew in code. So this class is going to be a little different, but I think before I start, let me just introduce myself briefly. According to what our facilitator Gloria just said, I am quite a multidisciplinary product professional. I started out as a graphic designer, trying to understand and make the best of design and print far back, in 2012. And from there, I just pretty much grew into the system. I allowed myself to experience the digital age, even though I was quite young back then. And so from doing graphics and printing to going into brand design and, advertising and marketing, and then going into every other aspect of social media and content and management, engaging, and then pretty much diving into design for marketing design. And then at some point it was obvious that the technology age was becoming a little bit more furious. And there were new terms, new concepts coming up, and UI UX seemed to be the most aggressive then. And I was like, what is this thing they're calling UI UX? Is it not the same design that we're doing? And so yeah, I jumped on it, and ever since then I've not looked back. UX pretty much opened me to every other thing that I'm doing right now. that I am right now. It's something to be grateful for. After a few years of doing UX, the irregular happened. Built a lot of products. Worked on a lot of teams building amazing products. And I realized that not all the products succeeded. I mean, I built 1, 2, 3 products, and let's say 2 years down the line, you're like, can we see a link to your live product? And I'm like, is that product still live? And then you go all out and start searching for, links to all of your exhausted products or expired products in quotes. Some of the products were not on, Play Store or Apple library. And so I realized there was a huge gap between designing functional products or designing interesting products and literally having products thrive in the marketplace. And I think that gap mostly came from product perspective. Because as beautiful as those apps were, the truth is then, I don't think if I see those apps now, I would say they are that beautiful. But yes, they were functional. So in those days, beyond functionality, there was a lot more involved in the product process. How these apps daily, empathize with users and how these apps adjust to meet their most important needs. And because that flexibility was not there, some of those apps died natural deaths. Others couldn't compete in the industry, and today they are nowhere to be found. And so it drove me to start to push that. What exactly is the real difference between apps that succeed and the ones that don't? And being a design-centered, product manager, I think product design is my technicality here. I started to realize that some of the unique aspects of product design, right, further trickle into the product process that later become the experiences that users fall in love with, that users are loyal to, the products that users get completely immersed in and cannot do without. It usually starts at the beginning of the product process, which is the user research process. And so because of that, a lot of my conversation will be at this stage, because the moment I leave that stage and I start to go into the product management, product this, product that will be more of a question and answer thing, because product management is wild, right? You will meet problems that you probably have never heard of before, depending on the kind of industries that you're working in. And some of these things will have to be tackled on a question by question basis. And so I would leave that part, those questions, to be answered at the later end of this conversation. But for a start, I want us to just take our time to walk through some of the, slides that we're going to be using today. Can everybody see my screen? Can everyone see my? Okay, cool. So yeah, I would start from here and pretty much just introduce what this class is about. So basically, we're in the era where everyone is literally trying to make processes easier, products simpler. And pretty much one thing that is unique about this era is everyone is building something. Every company out there is trying to show, a different value range in terms of their offerings. And what makes that really easy is because information is now at our fingertips. Data is becoming a bigger tool in the marketplace. And so as individuals, our ability to access or harness the best of this new tool is where our strengths really lie. Even companies these days are riding fully on the strength of AI, right? Because AI really is data on steroids. That's what I call it. And so pretty much AI is the new smart assistant. If you know what virtual assistants are, you know how important they are to a lot of the executives and businesses where, they help you schedule this, they literally do everything it takes to keep, the business running smoothly. And in this case, AI is that kind of person, a virtual assistant to everyone who is in product. In fact, literally everyone who is doing anything important or information-based these days. So AI is the new smart assistant. We use AI on an everyday basis. We use AI for, questions that, you really would want to ask someone else on a normal day. These days, we're plugging into AI to ask the most technical questions, and it answers them as intuitively as possible. And it keeps doing that at an exponential level. And so we're trying to plug into AI to see how much we can use it to improve or influence our product process. And so this presentation will just strictly walk us through how this should be done from the research phase of your product process. And wherever I stop with the presentation, I can guarantee you there's a lot more, especially on the product management end. But those places are probably places you would have to subscribe to the course that they've advertised, right? And probably subsequent master classes to catch up on. But for now, because of the time we have, I'll focus mostly on the product, design angle. And so for now, I've touched on the background. I want to focus briefly on research methods and goals, data analysis and synthesis, how to use AI to find the perfect user personas, because at the end of the day, user personas are the fastest ways to sell your products. If you nail that part of your products, you will build products that are very hyper personalized and very, very, cozy when it comes to user adoption, right? And then we'll also look at how to use AI, to gain insights quickly from our research, and then opportunities in AI, especially as regards designing intuitive interfaces and also the product process when it comes to product management, right? What opportunities can you as a product manager gain from all of this research? Because the reason why this is important for product managers, not just designers, is because every product manager has to go through the research process of finding product market fit, finding user adoption potentials for every of your unique product ideas. So we'll start with the research methods and then work our way down to the design and then also to the management of products. Then I will answer questions. So the idea is these days product experiences are quite a chaos. If you worked in product management or any of those positions long enough, you will know that it can be crazy. It can go from 1 to 100 in no time. Like product issues escalate. There are new things, new obstacles, and all of that. So the idea is AI helps you move seamlessly from chaos to organized data and then to connection with your users, right? Every time there's a problem with a product, the idea is if you know how to use data, you can easily filter it out. There are products that are so successful, right? And they are constantly improving on their products and building out interesting, features just off of the numbers, data that their products are making. And so AI is one of those tools that you can use to simplify and optimize, this product experiences. And so from chaos to connection, we're talking about how to optimize these product experiences through user-centered solutions. And one of those user-centered solutions start with the kind of questions we are asking when we want to build a product, right? Your user experience research. And this usually is a matter of focusing on the business and the user end of the process. Every product starts with the user and ends with the user. But in between, you have to deal with the business goals, the business expectations, and how the user's interests will benefit the businesses. And so, because of that, I'm dividing this into the business and the user goals. And how AI comes into play in this case is using AI to ask relevant questions, about industry and market dynamics. This is when we want to start a project. We use research and say, hey, the market has so billion users, so billion revenue, so million in prospective, solutions existing, and all of them still do not solve A, B, C, D problems. Or better yet, The solutions are there. The solutions are very actively very actively growing in the market, but at the same time, there is a lot more markets. They are untouched, untapped, demographics in this, business that we can afford to plug into and benefit from, either locally or globally. So businesses constantly use this information that you can easily, generate with AI. Interestingly, I'd have loved if today we could do a very practical class where I open ChatGPT and I show you how I prompt AI to get the most accurate, results, right, from this interest, right? So, but because I won't be able to do that while I'm presenting, what I'll just do is touch on some of the interesting ways to do this without exposing yourself to errors, right? So basically, when I want to start my business research, right, I focus mostly on the potential. Can you hear me?
Yes, I think we should be able to do that. Maybe after your presentation, you can then stop sharing your screen and just do that.
Okay, that'll be fine. So understanding industry and market challenges, right, and using AI to practically ask for unique approaches to solving these problems. For example, I can decide to ask AI what the general standard market industry opportunities are, and also ask AI to look for unique approaches to solving these problems. Because most times, data shows you what is obvious, and most of us are okay with what is obvious, what we can see, right? Oh, I checked what is the market size of this? Oh yeah, what is the competition in this industry looking like at the moment? What does it look like in 10 years? Now, most people just look at that, but AI is not just about asking obvious questions. It's about saying, okay, in the past 8 to 10 years, what are the unique changes that users have gone through in this particular industry? And how do I leverage that to build products that are useful in the next 10 years? Now, the moment you do that, AI starts to do something interesting. It starts to analyze what the industry will look like in 10 years based on graduated, calculated data, right? And that way, you're not just projecting into the future. You're building products that will probably grow into the future. You're not just building for now, because the impulse is to build for now, the problems you're facing now. But how do these problems, how have they transformed into what we have now? And how do we leverage on that to build for the future? And this will give you very unique answers that you can instantly look at and start to think differently or think correctly in your product process, right? So that's number one. When it comes to identifying opportunities and unique avenues to build solutions, I just explained that for number two, right? These things will expose you, and then you can now ask AI, based on these solutions or these suggestions you are giving, can you now help me, right, structure these ideas in such a way that it fits into the next steps of product building, right? Developing user personas, for example. Now that we've found what the opportunities are in the industry, how do you think users would engage with this product? And what kind of unique users from data are presently in this particular product market space that I'm looking at? And then you start to streamline. Now, I've noticed something interesting. When I started out with AI, I used to go to AI, ask questions, and disappear. And then I'll have another question. And I'll come and ask again. And before you know it, I'm off. And I'll come. So, but as I started to learn how to program, language models and, how to prompt AI, I started to realize that you get better results when you take AI through your process and you graduate your prompting. It gives you more context-based responses that you can almost be sure that will be immediately useful in your research process. And so I would naturally start with the business, ask constructively to move into the opportunities, and then the user personas. And the next thing is trying to generate as much insight from everything that AI has given you. And so naturally, for me, I would expect that when I have developed a user persona, right, I want to go into design. Who am I designing for? Why am I designing for them? Now, before I go into design, I have to ask some very important questions based on the results I've gotten. The questions of point of views, right? What is the point of view of the user's problems, right? Our research goals are going to be clear the moment we're done with that previous phase of what I just explained. We know what the goals are, we know what the industry expectations are, what the industry data looks like. Then we start to ask important questions like, what are the things that you would like to explore? So these are examples of questions that I usually ask for a project I just worked on recently, right? This is how I like to structure some of the questions I ask AI. But when I'm prompting them, I prompt them a little differently. So I'll say I'd like to explore how I can enhance channels for communication and collaboration with a brand, because it will improve, it will facilitate, it will optimize and improve user experiences by providing accurate, real-time updates on essential, blah, 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 blah. When I put that into AI as a prompt, the kind of solutions that it will give me are usually tailored to all of the previous information that we have been constructively drilling down on. But like when I just come in here, and I always say, based on the previous questions or based on the previous responses, can you help me explore and enhance channels for communication for this brand and blah, blah, blah. And because I do that, we can constructively filter down on value when it comes to our product process. I know a lot of people are used to, whenever I feel like I want to research, I'll, ask 1 or 2 people, ask 1 to 10 people. But before you go ahead with all the questions you've asked, you probably have to cross-check with AI to see if there's something you're missing, because most times user responses are very wide, right? So first of all, you have to make sure you tailor your user research process, user interview process to your specific goals, and that's user goals and business goals. Then you come and start asking questions of point of views, right? And my point of view is I would like to explore this area. I type it in there and I see how much value I can get from AI. Then I also want to explore the utilization of built-in apps. Based on all of these things I've found out, I want to see a built-in app with productivity and time management, blah, blah, blah. And AI will continue to give you context-valid responses, right? I'd also like to explore channels through which users can create, poster, and blah, blah. And these responses are not just responses. They're probably going to be features. They're going to be functions. They are going to be marketing-oriented responses that on the long run, you'll probably be using on every other aspect of your product documentation. Because I know at the end of the day, this will lead to some sort of document that we'll be using. So in that case, AI becomes that important tool that the moment you start to engage it, right, it starts to extract insights that lead to, not just asking quality questions, but also delivering quality harmonies. So the interesting part about this is a POV scenario where I am letting AI into what my point of view presently is. Right after I'm done with that, what I should be doing next is asking AI, now that you have given me a lot of points of views, now I'll take each of those AI responses and I start to ask, how might we, based off your answer to 1, 2, and 3, how might we do A, B, and C to tie the user and business goals to the functional features of the app? Now, the idea is to lead AI in such a way that it's not just a Google prompting device. It's a smart assistant. Now, for those who do design, I feel like they are the ones who see the most visual values in using AI. For example, if you look at this screen, you have 3 different major AI visualizing softwares that are very popular, and I can imagine telling AI, I need this, and it gives me this, right? And interestingly, these are the kind of things that most people use AI for. But for us who are product people, right? This is where most of our problems are in these research goals and methods, right? We want to nail the project or the product before it even starts. By the time we get to the point where we have asked all the relevant questions, we start to synthesize and break down, you start to work on your user interviews, and you start to break down your your product response, interview responses to affinity mapping and all the interesting, structures that you need to put in place to get your features out, right? And at this point, you start to have an idea what all the features are going to be like. You do your competitive analysis, right? Using AI, especially to find out what the real features in those apps are, what probably their unique differences or their unique similarities are. AI is very good for asking those kind of questions, right? For those who are into design, recently I started to use AI to prompt even my design processes, because I realized that, you know how these days the concept of imposter syndrome has become so huge that you almost feel like you cannot do anything, you have to copy someone's work, because ideally there's so much to copy from, right? And so we start to look for, can I generate an interesting view or an interesting idea of what this app would look like? And then I start to prompt AI saying, okay, based on all of these features that I've outlined and all of these, opportunities that are available to me, information available, can you create for me a product process listing out everything I would need in order to start designing for this app with my user profile, my user personas clearly already stated based on questions I asked AI, because that's where I usually start from. I like to ask AI to give me an idea of what age range of people usually explore solutions and opportunity in industry, and it gives me very clear numbers with percentage most times, right? Giving you averages and all the other necessary ideas. Then you move on to asking AI to start to give you ideas. So based on feature A, B, C, D that I have listed, what other features do you think would be nice to have in this or will be necessary for users to particularly enjoy the experience on this app? AI will give you amazing ideas. Then when you're done, you now ask AI, can you work out an onboarding process? The interesting thing about doing all of this is, as a PM, you really do not have so much time to do UI, UX, wireframing and all that. I usually use AI these days to formulate these things. I ask AI to work up a simple wireframe idea for me to have some interesting, visual prompt. As a designer, naturally, I want to do this thing, by myself and all that. But these days, I use AI. And from what AI gives me, I can immediately tell, okay, what is wrong, what is right, how practical it is, and how not so practical it is. And I start to work my way up from there. By the time I start to do this, I start to realize that, okay, all of these screens that I'm generating, interestingly, these are all AI generated. For all of us who are watching, these are things that might take a UI designer 1 to 3 weeks, right, to formulate and complete. But because I already have an idea of what it looks like, I can start to speak with a designer, or as a designer, I can start to speak with my project more personally, knowing fully well that these are probably what the features in my app should look like. I can go as far as asking AI to generate it in different color palettes, right? To give me ideas in different, perspectives. Can it adjust some of its responses to fit into some certain style? I can tell AI to give me a different, trend of design. If I feel like, yes, what I have, I can say, can you make this a little bit more minimalist with an interest in, black and white, not so colorful? I can say, okay, can you make it a little bit more, what I call it, interactive in terms of stickiness. I would like features that will be very interactive and sticky. Can you give me an idea of how to, implement this into my user interfaces? And asking these questions would start to generate different palettes. And imagine if you've not started your project yet and you already have this to work from in terms of wireframe. By the time you get to this point, right, you start to realize that the next steps, which is the wireframing and prototyping, the technical development, which is the one conversations you're going to be having with your programming team, right? The usability testing, firstly, how to test, some of the wireframes and some of the developments done by your technical team. And then also the design iterations, which are the changes that you find out that you will be needing from the responses that you get from usability testing, right? There are different documents that are involved in all of these different processes, especially the usability testing and how you can test efficiently with AI. There are different products involved. There's the Hotjar, there's Google Tag Manager or Google product a set of Google products that are used to test your products for usability and how users interact with your interfaces. There's also the products that you will be needing to use to define how functionally appealing your products are to their users. But if I decide to get into that now, this slide will be long. But yes, this is the part where I start to move into product management, because ideally, the moment you've done your basic processes that lead up to you having design images like this, you start to now deal with the constraints, right? The strategies, the approaches, which everybody is going to depend on you for in your team to bring your product from wireframe and prototyping to product launch. So in that case, I would like to address some of the questions that we have. And then if there's still time, I'll quickly see if I can demonstrate how I come about these processes from research, prompting of AI, down to relevant product documentation, which are some of the things that we probably find a little difficult. If you can find a way to automate these systems using AI as your smart assistant, there literally is no ceiling to what you can do, right? So if you have any questions, I know that some people have dropped questions already, and those questions, I feel like I should start looking into them before I move on to the practical part of this, right? Obi said, I'm looking forward to deepening my knowledge on advanced product management techniques and frameworks or more. That's interesting. Okay, so advanced product management techniques and frameworks. How does AI come to play in advanced product management techniques? If you're on this call, Obi, I'd like to probably hear from you. What exactly you want me to answer in this? Because this is quite a deep question, right? Advanced product management techniques and frameworks. Is it as regards AI or as regards how to implement, AI into these frameworks? I want to be sure, right? Because some of these product management techniques are theoretical, but I'm more on how to apply or execute them using AI as an assistant, right? So if you're on this call, I would like to hear what exactly, or maybe you can break the question down for me.
Yeah, it's regarding AI.
Okay, so regarding AI, what I usually do with advanced product management techniques is to probably ask AI case-specific questions. And what I usually do with that is I start my prompting by asking AI to fill my shoes. I say, I tell AI, act as a senior product manager. That's the first thing I do whenever I want to ask those kind of questions. Act as a senior product manager. You have been tasked to work on product A, B, C, X, Y, Z. And these are the particular problems or particular constraints that are evident in the product, development process, right? And I need you to give me advice on how to manage this based on 1, 2, or 3, perspectives. And the moment you do that, what you realize that immediately AI starts to gradually, first of all, break down what your unique product would require. I think I should switch to my AI this thing now.
David, you have a
Can you
question
see
in the chat
this?
box. I don't know if you can see, so I should read it out.
Oh, please help me with reading it out, sorry. I'm trying to zoom in on the application window I'm on
Okay,
right
so the
now.
the question says, do you use only ChatGPT or other AI tools? Or which other AI tools do you use?
Okay, so there is a long list of tools that I usually engage. I think, unfortunately, I did not list them out on this slide. What I would probably do is, if there is a way to reach out to everyone, I'll make a continuation of this slide and list all of those tools. For example, when it comes to generating images and screenshots or product ideas, mostly I'm mostly comfortable using DALL-E and Mid-Journey, right? But when it comes to the other aspects of AI and whatever processes I'm trying to optimize with AI, I'm mostly grounded on ChatGPT. Reason is because ChatGPT literally helps me structure most of my, what I call it, responses to previously asked questions. So it's only when I now need some extra information, right, or some extra, what would I call it now, insight, I can now take the information that I've gotten in ChatGPT and then plug it into those other AI tools, which I consider, there's a lot of them out there now. There are tools for generating, receipts. There are tools for converting your text into voice. There are tools for converting your ideas into captured into presentations. There's even video presentations. So yeah, interestingly, thank you for the question, Jedediah. About ChatGPT, I think I should have touched on all the competitions in the market for AI. When people talk about AI, I think one of the first things that comes to their mind is ChatGPT, but actually they're not the first or the best, in quotes. They're just pretty much the ones who cover the most ground when it comes to what you will need entirely for a product process, right? For me, that's my personal opinion. Then if you need other, improvements to your AI needs, you can now start to, dive into other platforms like Copilot. You have the ones by Google, you have the ones by Bard, you have Copilot by Microsoft. You have, even today, if you check on what they call it now, what's that app? Snapchat. There is now an AI assistant, right, that can generate some of these things that we're probably doing on the AI website. If you use WhatsApp, recently WhatsApp launched, their own personal AI, right? And so the moment you start to look at the case for AI, you realize that there are a lot of AI products now. The reason why I stick to ChatGPT is because, for example, I've tried doing this on different AI products. If I ask a question now on those and I go away and I come back, right, it's very difficult to continue the conversation and get the kind of response I get using AI. Because with AI, if you can see my screen, you can see some of the questions I asked recently, right? It keeps a history of them and I can continue from where I stop, where I stopped on this project, right? A good example is this particular one that I'm working on. I started the conversation, right? I started the conversation. Can anyone see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Oh, great. So I started these conversations like all the way from research questions. And I and ChatGPT, we followed it down to the point where I started to ask ChatGPT, because some of these projects we're building, there's not enough time, right? Give me an idea of what the wallet would look like. I can take all of this. This is an HTML, what I call it, wireframe of ChatGPT's response. These are the kind of what I call it, feedback that I would get visual prompts for if I went to DALI or I went to the other one. What's the name again? Midjourney. They'll give me more visual responses. But with ChatGPT, I come this close, and I can even upload a kind of, a similar what I call it, a similar image that it can give me ideas from, and it will start to generate images. But because I haven't gotten to that point, I go as far as asking it to list it to me so I can see what every page, right? Okay, I can see an interesting question here. Sorry for that break. So with what I was just explaining, if you can see, I started out, right, asking AI to help me design screens for my mobile app, right? Using, a conceptual outline for each screen. That's because I already asked previous questions that led me to this point. And the moment I started the conversation, AI listed all the necessary screens that I will be dealing with, right? That's because I am coming from a design perspective. I needed to design these things, and I had little time, to start doing all that research. So AI helped me walk through all of these things, right? It gave me the wallet screens and every other, ideas I would need. I cross-checked some of these solutions, these ideas with what I already had, because I had done some research before coming to here, right? And it almost matched all the features that I had generated from my user interview, which I already conducted. And so this made my process 10 times faster because I didn't even have to think much. I even got some ideas on probably features that I left out in the process, right? Now, when it comes to the technical part, let me quickly answer Taiwo Olishola's question. I'd like to know how PM handles the use of AI for product management when his domain has to do with industry IP. Okay, so I think for industry IP, corporate ethics will not allow you to do a lot of things. Yes, like you rightly mentioned. But with AI doesn't necessarily have to have all of your data in the mix. What you have to do is creatively nudge AI to give you close reference scenarios, such that I don't necessarily have to put in the data of my product. For example, I can ask AI about an idea. Let me see if I can quickly do that now here. And say, hey, I need help with okay, this thing is covering my screen. I can't. Okay, let me use my phone then. the Zoom okay, it's covering my screen. I can see it now. All right, so Taiwo Olushola, based on your idea for IP and what do they call it? Intellectual property. Yeah. I think that mostly is the considerations that pops up when it has to do with sharing data with AI. And a lot of times, right, I feel like there are a lot of tools that really you cannot hide from AI at this point, because there's now AI in Excel. There's now AI in Figma. There's now AI in literally every very important industry. So a time will come when people will start to become less, and less afraid of using AI, right? In those respects. But because intellectual properties considerations are necessary, right? Especially in corporate governance, these restrictions are important to protect data, right? It means you cannot exactly take information that are, directly relevant to your product, right, and put it into ChatGPT. Yes, it will do all the work for you, but like you already mentioned, those informations are no longer secret. They're probably added to the global pool of information that you can no longer claim intellectual property over because you've exposed it to the market, right? And we don't know what the behind the scenes of AI is at the moment in terms of security. So it's dangerous to particularly put these things out there. But at the same time, as a PM, what you should always try to do is to ensure that whenever you're dealing with AI, you don't necessarily have to give it the exact information. Sometimes you come up with close references, right, or scenarios and say, AI, for example, I can like to ask AI and say, as a product manager for let's say real estate businesses looking to integrate crypto. I mean, this is just literally random. Crypto into our payment services. What do you think the what's the word we used here now, right? What do you think the major dangers you need to avoid are, especially with a focus on user data, Now, this is a kind of long question, right? But these are the kind of questions we ask normally. And if I were to ask AI, I wouldn't want to put all of this at once. I'll probably just cut this question out. And then I'll say, I'll start a new chat so I can be constructive. That's how I approach it. I try not to model up AI's space because that's previously I had a project. So I'll say, hi there. Once AI responds, I simply start to create an industry-based scenario for AI to walk through, right? I hope it's not my internet that is slowing down my response. Yeah, so act as a product manager is what I'll probably tell AI first, right? And help me walk through the following questions, right? The moment I do that, I can now start typing and dumping some of my ideas on AI bit by bit, right? So as a real estate product manager, you are looking to integrate crypto into your payments. I try to make it as personalized as possible, services, right? And then I ask, and majorly, what AI will start doing at this point right, is trying to expose to you all of the dangers that are directly related to your IPs, right? And probably areas that you should also take note of. And this is as constructive as it can get. A lot of times, people think AI is mostly, good at answering general questions. I can ask AI based on the response it just gave me to find out unique ways to mitigate these problems or one of the problems in the above that I feel I am concerned with, right? And as a product manager, the kind of response that I will get are going to be mostly constructive. Right? I can even paint a localized scenario where, in my industry presently, this is what is, this is what is actively in vogue. And I would like you to give me ideas on how to, or find, I can ask AI, can you find unique ways to mitigate user trust as stated above, right? And once you do that, AI probably starts to show you how to go about, handling some of these concerns that you mentioned. And I feel like for me as a PM, right, I don't think I have any fear as regards some of these concepts when it comes to asking AI the right questions. What you probably just need to do is learn how to communicate constructively with AI. And then you should now be able to use all the information you get, for example, to now draft out your tables, your product requirement documents, your what are those other interesting tools that we'll probably use on a day-to-day. Sometimes you probably need AI to help you structure your competitor analysis to find interesting insights that you probably might not, know about when it comes to those apps. Sometimes I even copy the link of the different competitions, the different competitors into AI, and I say, these are 3 different, products offering the same services in social space. Can you help me do this, do this, do this, do this? And that's probably what I'm going to do, right? Wow, we're really past our time here. I was hoping that I could be really brief about this, but yes, let's see. Let me look for 3 businesses in the same industry and say AI should help us with doing a competitive advantage, right? What industry should we look at? Let's see. Gloria, do I have enough time to start to explore the practical approach to these things? Or do we have to schedule a subsequent class to be able to get this?
Well, we can use 15 minutes extra, so we just finish by 12:30.
Okay, great. That works. If you allow me, then let me quickly go on and start. So let's use, for example, product school, right? 10th Code Media. Let's say 10th Code Media, right? I want to ask AI to do a quick comparative, computer analysis for me as regards to, this unique industry. So I'll just tell AI, act as a user experience researcher and help me find unique SWOT and let me not use SWOT actually. Let me find unique similarities and differences between the following products in the product management and product training brands. And then I would immediately start copying their websites, productschool.com. I would look for which other ones do we have. Let me put 10th Code Media there. I hope I have access to their website, right? What's the website for 10th Code Media? Sorry, 10th Code Media. Dora, can you help me with your website? Okay, I think I've seen it. Let me just copy this quickly. So don't mind me, this is trying to be practical based on the questions that that was asked, right? 10codemedia.com. One second. Yeah, product school. 10codemedia.com. What other school can we add? Let me just make it 3. What other popular, let's say Utiva, right? Or Udacity, udacity.com. And now in doing this, I can decide to stop here and expect AI to do all the hard work for me. But because I understand how powerful AI can be, I don't just stop here. I tell AI to go as far as give me its feedback using tables and columns or rows and columns, right? Give me tailor your feedback, or help me tailor your feedback to include, on a table, format, and include each brand on the columns and their unique similarities and differences on rows, and limit this to 5 points. And once I do this, I have given AI all the information I need, and then I wait for it to generate all of this, right? And see what AI is doing for me. Now, you see this long list that AI just gave me, this short list, was because I asked it to focus on 5 major aspects. Now I can dive even deeper and tell AI to compare their prices, compare as far as their user experience. I can ask AI to do a user experience audit of each of these websites and give me comparative differences that would help me, compare my product, right? So you can see 10th Code Media right here, which is interesting because we're trying to see what these websites have that we don't, or what they have that we do. And here it's focusing on the ones that, they have and don't have. And I can tell here that certifications are not available on 10th Code Media website. Now, before now, I didn't know, for a long time, I didn't know that I could use ChatGPT to identify tables. Now I can use ChatGPT to identify anything, as long as I understand how to prompt it specifically for those purposes. And for those of us that are still on this call, I hope this is able to let you understand that sometimes it's not about asking ChatGPT questions. It's not Google, right? If you take ChatGPT as Google, you will get Google from it. But if you start to understand that ChatGPT is that hired assistant that can do anything and everything, you now become like a dog owner. You can decide to call your dog Bingo, right? And tie it outside your house to the tree, and it will only be barking at passerbys. But you can decide to have your dog in your sitting room, well cleaned, love up on it, train it, you can domesticate it. You can imagine the contrast I'm making, right? As regards functionality, right? So in respect to some of these things that I just mentioned is how personal AI can be, right? Now, Emmanuel is asking me, competitor analysis is great, but what do you reckon is the core aspect of using AI to build intuitive products? So for me, the core focus for using AI to build intuitive products will be using AI throughout your research process. Literally asking AI, very personalized questions about your demography, your market, your features, your user, persona, your name it. Every aspect that are going to be very pivotal in how your users experience your products, including asking users, AI, to give you features or how to modify your features to make it a lot more sticky, to make it a lot more, to tailor your products to become more loyal, customer-centric, right? You can decide to ask AI some of those questions that will now prompt you to start to develop tokens, to start to develop, features that require your users, to enjoy sometimes features that are not particularly necessary in your product functionalities, but are important and useful for your products to be enjoyed by the users that already download it or that already use it. For example, when you want to tokenize your products, you can go ahead and ask AI what the industry looks like. What kind of tokens are usually, very acceptable or very impressed or impressive, or which ones are the users mostly impressed by based on the ones that are available in the market. And AI will start to give you numbers, data. What kind of features can I include in my product to make my product more reward friendly and also, keep more users, right, coming back to my app? For example, I can ask AI that question, and you start to see AI break down all the present features in the industry that allow me to do some of these things, right? I've done that so many times on some products that I'm presently working on, right? Some of them are private products that I'm doing UX audits for, and I'm trying to see how best to use the information available to me to prompt AI to give me the best approaches, to improve or to optimize already existing products, right? So the core aspects of using AI to build intuitive products is carrying AI along throughout your product process, from the research to the user interview down to the product testing. Because when it comes to product testing, you can afford to go on the Hootsuite app or the what's the other product that I use? The the Hotjar, right? And see all the areas that your products are either lacking or are either strong at. And you may not ask other questions because this app has really helped me. When you discover that this app has shown the areas where your products are lacking, the question is, what do you do next? You just go ahead and start saying, okay, users don't click this page. Why? Sometimes you take that particular page URL, you put it into AI and say, based on user experience, expectations, this page did not meet the standard. Can you help me walk through it and give me an idea of what exactly the issue is and how to improve on it? Right? The moment you do that, you see what AI just did in this table here. It will literally come out and give you explicit solutions on everything you need to make that page better. But because of our time, I don't want to start going into that because we'll start opening different aspects of AI that will take some time. But interestingly, that question you ask is very important because ideally that's the core of what this program is about, right? The core aspects of using AI to build intuitive products are to help AI directly be involved in each of your product process from research to launch down to your product marketing. Because at the end of the day, the user's behavior, the user data are mostly domiciled on database sources that AI has access to that you might not particularly know about. And like I said, AI is that amazing tool that you can use to generate insights in any area, any aspect, as long as you know how to ask it these interesting questions, right? And also to, like a dog, train it to respond personally to you, right? And not just generally approach it as, oh, that's Google, app that that Google app that I am used to, going in and asking random questions, right? So at this junction, I feel like if there are any other questions, then it's probably time for us to answer them because I wouldn't have more time to demonstrate, some of these other things. But it's nice to hear from everyone who probably has questions after all of this plenty talk. So please, if you've stayed so far in this session, I know that your expectations may have been really high because when you hear masterclass, you start to think, oh, maybe they are going to show us one new tool, Sometimes it's not about the tools, and because there's so many of them out there. The idea is to understand how best to apply to execute, your projects using all of this, already existing tools. How to optimize your approach to using them to generate better responses, better feedback, and at the end of the day, how all of this results in building more intuitive, user experiences because we're using data as a strong backing for all of our decision making. Do we really get where all of this is leading at? And if you do, please drop your comments in the comment section. I'd like to hear what you think about it. Even if you have questions, I think this is time for us to answer them so that everybody can be able.
I think our time is fast spent actually. So we might not be. I think I like the fact that you were addressing some questions on the go. So unfortunately, we might not be able to take any more questions because we're supposed to round up by 12. But I see how very engaging the session has been. So we won't be taking any more questions. However, the recording is going to be available. So please let's feel free to. I will share the recording to us. I'll send it as a mail, and it will also be uploaded on our YouTube channel. So let's feel free to go to our social media platform, our YouTube channel, and watch the recording. And even when we get it in our mailbox, we can always watch it. And there will be a contact detail in the mail that you can always send in your question. And like you rightly mentioned earlier, we can't put everything in 1 hour. And that's why I mentioned in the beginning of the session that there will be trainings. We have product trainings that covers most of these aspects, and most of the questions are already being asked. So yes, we will be in touch with everyone who has joined the session and even those that have registered. And hopefully we'll be able to address all the questions via mail and every inquiry, and even take up the opportunity to register for our upcoming classes to leverage the opportunities to learn and bridge the knowledge gap. I hope we all found this session very insightful, guys. Can we please just give a round of applause, like virtual round of applause for our facilitator? Okay, thank you so much, David. And thank you everyone too for being a part of this masterclass. It was great having us all here. We hope we found it very insightful. And we are wishing everyone a very good weekend. The weekend is still pretty long. So we're wishing you all a very good weekend. We hope you enjoy your weekend and have a blessed day. Thank you once again, everyone. Thank you.